Hare Krishna, good morning.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Good morning.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
While others join, let's offer prayers. Om Jnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana-salakaya Chakshurudmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano-Abhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Katamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurusheta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijatahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishaka Advitam Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Kadamba Kanana Swaminiti Namine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Gurudasa Jaya Advaita Swaminiti Namine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshitarane Panchakalpatarabhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। हरे कृष्ण। Let me know if someone is able to record, otherwise I'll start. Let me know if you see my screen.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, would someone like to read from verse number 16 to the end?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I can do it.
Okay.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Just as the sunshine is non-different from the sun, the cosmic manifestation is also non-different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Personality is therefore all-pervasive within this material creation. When the senses are active, they appear to be part and parcel of the body, but when the body is asleep, their activities are unmanifest. Similarly, the whole cosmic creation appears different and yet non-different from the Supreme Person. My dear kings, Sometimes in the sky there are clouds, sometimes there is darkness, and sometimes there is illumination. The appearance of all these takes place consecutively. Similarly, in the Supreme Absolute, the modes of passion, darkness, and goodness appear as consecutive energies. Sometimes they appear and sometimes they disappear. Because the Supreme Lord is the cause of all causes, he is the supersoul of all living entities, and he exists as both the remote and immediate cause. Since he is aloof from the material emanations, he is free from their interactions and is Lord of material nature. You should therefore engage in his devotional service, thinking yourself qualitatively one with him. By showing mercy to all living entities, being satisfied somehow or other, and restricting the senses from sense enjoyment, one can very quickly satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Janardana. Being completely cleansed of all material desires, the devotees are freed from mental contamination. Thus, they can always think of the Lord constantly and address him very feelingly. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, knowing himself to be controlled by his devotees, does not leave them for a second, just as the sky overhead never becomes invisible. Now, Prabhuji, can you please call? The Supreme Personality of Godhead becomes very dear to those devotees who have no material possessions but are fully happy in possessing the devotional service of the Lord. Indeed, the Lord relishes the devotional activities of such devotees. Those who are puffed up with material education, wealth, aristocracy, and fruitive activity are very proud of possessing material things, and they often deride the devotees. Even if such people offer the Lord worship, the Lord never accepts them. Although the Supreme Personality of Godhead is self-sufficient, he becomes dependent on his devotees. He does not care for the goodness of fortune, nor for the kings and demigods who are after the favors of the goddess of fortune. Where is that person who is actually grateful and will not worship the personality of Godhead? The great sage Maitreya continued, "My dear King Vidura, Sri Narada Muni, the Lord of Brahma, thus described all these relationships with the Supreme Personality of Godhead to the Prachetas. Afterward, he returned to Brahmaloka. Hearing from Narada's mouth the glories of the Lord, which vanquish all the ill fortune of the world, the Prachetas also became attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Meditating on his lotus feet, they advanced to the ultimate destination. My dear Vidura, I have told you everything you wanted to know about the conversation between Narada and the Prachetas. The conversation describing the glories of the Lord. I have related this as far as possible." Sukadeva Goswami continued, "O best of kings, King Parikshit, I have now finished telling about the descendants of the first son of Swayambhu Manu, Uttanapada. I shall now try to relate the activities of the descendants of Priyavarta, the second son of Swayambhu Manu. Please hear them attentively. Although Maharaja Priyavarta received instructions from the great sage Narada, he still engaged in ruling the earth. After fully enjoying material possessions, he divided his property among his sons. He then attained a position by which he could return home back to Godhead. My dear King, in this way, after hearing the transcendental messages of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his devotees from the great sage Maitreya, Vidura was overwhelmed with ecstasy. With tears in his eyes, he immediately fell down at the lotus feet of his Guru, his spiritual master. He then fixed the Supreme Personality of Godhead within the core of his heart. Sri Vidura said, O great mystic, O greatest of all devotees, by a causeless mercy, I have been shown the path of liberation from this world of darkness. By following this path, a person liberated from the material world can return home back to Godhead. Sukadeva Goswami continued, Vidura thus offered obeisances unto the great sage Maitreya, and taking his permission, started for the city of Hastinapura to see his own kinsmen, although he had no material desires. O king, those who hear these topics about kings who are completely surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead obtain without difficulty a long life, wealth, good reputation, good fortune, and ultimately the opportunity to return home back to Godhead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Satish Prabhu,
Yes, Prabhuji.
hope you also found it that a conclusion has come finally. How did you enjoy
Absolutely.
reading?
Yes, I think we started by February, and I think it was very nice, Prabhuji.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Outside there is a nice blue hue, pink hue sunrise. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in this chapter, Narad Muni is instructing to Prachetas. Why? Because Prachetas, after they have come again, took the shelter of Narad Muni. Why? Because they said, okay, we got blessed with the daughter of the forest trees, Marisha, and then we have dutifully led Grahastha life and begot a child who is very, very expert called Daksha. And we have left our good wife in the custody of her son. And then they say, okay, this is what we do. And Prabhupada mentions that our life, uh, how many years do we have? Not that many years, but we can see that the successful storyline would be that we get into this ashram, take support of it for advancement and not staying longer. Why? Because staying longer can entangle us and we may not know whether we are in the Grihastha ashram or Grihamedi. Always there is a tug of war. Am I for Krishna or am I for myself? So better is to come to point how to lead a detached life and enter into Vanaprastha ashram when the mandatory responsibilities come to a sunset. Hmm. And Narad Muni is instructing, and his instructions are very valuable because he, in the previous verses, mentions that a civilized human being has three kinds of births. One is from the direct mother and father through semen. The second one is through initiation, and the third one is uh, yagnika, take place when one is given the opportunity to worship Lord Vishnu. Um, and despite the opportunities for attaining such births, even if one gets the lifespan of demigods, if one does not actually engage in service of Lord, everything is useless. Narad Muni is teaching the highest science. We may think, oh, um, but that is the absolute truth. The absolute truth is that a devotee whose natural position is to be servant of the Lord, he should advance. The advancement is through engaging himself in the service of the Lord. So this is what. Similarly, one's activities may be mundane or spiritual, but they are useless if they are not meant for satisfying the Lord. And it goes further. The activities instructed in the Vedas, the long life of human Vedic education, austerities, power, speech, mental speculation, everything, whatever we have, can be used for the satisfaction of the Lord. Otherwise, without God realization, what will happen? Transcendental practice that do not ultimately help one realize the Lord are useless. Be they be mystic yoga practices, the analytical study of matter, severe austerities, acceptance of sannyas, or study of Vedas, all which are having an important purpose, role to play in our life. If we don't use it for the right purpose, then our plans are doomed for no good result. All these may be very important aspects of spiritual advancement, but unless one understands the Supreme Person of Godhead, all these processes are useless. It goes further. The Lord is a source of self-realization, and worship of the Supreme Lord is very, very important. We don't want to think that the Lord is unreachable. He's too far. He's so perfect that I cannot reach. No, we can see here Narad Muni is giving the example of this pouring the water. He says, Yata taror mula nishechanena tripyanti tad skanda bhuja upashakha. Bhuja upashakha pranopaharaj. Just like how the prana is maintained by food. Cha yathendriyanam. Tathaiva sarvahanam achyutejya. As pouring water onto the root of tree energizes the trunk, branches, twigs, everything else, and as supplying food to stomach enlivens senses and limbs of the body. Similarly, hmm, worshipping the Supreme Person of Godhead through devotional service automatically satisfies the demigods who are part of the Supreme Person of Godhead. Then I don't know whether we read 15 also. Another analogy is also very valuable in Narad Muni is also saying what happens during the rainy season. I don't know, did we cover this about the glories of sun god? No. यथैव सूर्यात् प्रभवन्ति वारः पुनश्च तस्मिन् प्रविश्यन्ति काले भूतानि भूमौ स्थिर जङ्गमानि मानि तथा हराव एव गुण प्रवाहः. During rainy season, water is generated from the sun, and in due course of time, during the summer season, the very same water is again absorbed by the sun, isn't it? This way, we can see that sun is a source. Yeah, you may see in some religious mm, practices. Yeah, they worship sun god. Yeah, you can see in Hinduism that we can see in other religions also. They see that the sun. What is the Egypt understanding is also that. Uh, so similarly, all living entities moving and inert are generated from earth, and again from after some time, they all return to earth as dust, isn't it? How is that infant uh, and the womb is developing? Yeah, is made of the five elements, and these five elements, where are they coming from? They are coming from what one is taking. The mother is taking the food, and then this food is made of these five elements, and through that they all return to the earth as dust. Afterwards, when a person dies, then he is brought back, surrendered or given up. That's a kind of clearing the debt. Yeah, we took it from the nature and we give it back. Similarly, everything emanates from the Supreme Lord, and due course of time, everything enters into him again. Then let me check if I have some notes. Okay, yeah, I think we take it from 16. Etat padam tat jagat atmanam param sakrad vibhatam savitur yatha prabha yatha savo jagrati supta sakyato dravya kriya jnana vidha brahma brahmatmaya brahmatyaya, sorry. Hmm. Just as the sunshine is non-different from the sun, the cosmic manifestation is also non-different from the Lord. The Supreme Personality is therefore all-pervasive within this material creation. When the senses are active, they appear to be part and parcel of the body. But when the body is asleep, their activities are unmanifest. So this is another analogy through which we can understand um, that everything is manifesting and unmanifesting. It's not that cease to exist. It is always there, but sometimes in active state, sometimes in inactive state. Uh, this is Prabhupada writes in the purport. This is um, confirms the philosophy of Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. simultaneously one and different, propounded by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So in this purport, Prabhupada is mentioning, since energy of the Supreme Lord is non-different from him, this material cosmic manifestation is also uh, non-different from him, although it appears different. So we can see, just like if you have strength, um, that is definitely uh, your strength, and this strength is not my strength. Mm. So it is such a kind of inseparable. And actually, in fact, one way we can say that uh, you're identified through your energy. Mm. So you are identified, and through your energy, you are recognized or identified. Uh, um, but these both are two different. At the same time, they are same. Uh, since the energy of the Lord is non-different from him, this cosmic manifestation is also non-different from him, although it appears different. The sunshine is not different from the sun itself, but it is simultaneously also different, just like sun. One may be in the sunshine, but he is not on the sun itself. Those who live in this material world are living on the bodily rays of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but they cannot see him personally in the material condition. So, in this way, the understanding is that mm, we are touched by the Lord, but we can't see. That is okay. But still, in fact, we are in the energy of the Lord's creation. In this word, the word Padam, in this verse, the word Padam indicates the place where the Supreme Personality of Godhead resides. Hmm. Parama Padam. Padam is Dham, Param Dham. Padam is also a place where the Lord resides, and the proprietor of a house may live in one room of the house, but the entire house belongs to him, isn't it? A king may, Prabhupada gives example of king of Buckingham. He might um, be the king staying in his own private quarters or his own room, but his kingdom still is belongs to him. Mm. But the entire palace is considered his property. It is not necessary for the king to live in every room of that place for it to be his. Uh, he may be physically absent from the rooms, but still the entire palace is understood to be his royal domicile, isn't it? Yeah, it's not that okay. The Lord has to be, the king has to also be in the jail, because after all, if it is his, he should be there. No, uh, it is not so. Whatever is created, that is his energy through which he has created it. So it belongs to him. The sunshine is light. The sun globe itself is light, and the sun god is also light. In that way, we can see oneness. But at the same time, they are slightly different. Why? Because, however, the sunshine is not identical with the sun god, Vivaswan. Vivaswan is the person. This is the meaning of simultaneously one and different. Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. All the planets rest on the sunshine, and because of the heat of the sun, they all revolve in their orbits. On each and every planet, the trees, plants grow and change colors due to sunshine. Uh, being the rays of sun, the sunshine is not different from sun. This is important. Similarly, all the planets resting on the sunshine are not different from sun. So, in one way, we can see, because the source of energy for all these planets is sun god. So we can also see in this way that um, they are uh, mm, maintained by the law, maintained by sun god. So, in case if someone is thinking about how to correct astrological, just every day, if we take time and offer prayers to Surya Narayana, sun god, then what is happening is that okay, everything is taken care. But then who is this Surya Narayan? Is non different from Krishna. But uh, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying, Shashi Surya Netram, the sun is not like everything. Sun is just like Lord's eye. The entire cosmic manifestation should be understood as the expansion of the Lord. When one sleeps, the senses are inactive, but this does not mean that the senses are absent. When one is awakened, the senses become active again. Similarly, this cosmic manifestation comes and goes according to Bhagavad Gita. Bhutva bhutva praliyate. They come, manifest, dissolve, manifest, disappear. Thus, the words appearance and disappearance apply only to the cosmic manifestation. यथा नभसि अभ्रतमः प्रकाशा भवन्ति भूपा च भवन्ति अनुक्रमा एवं परे ब्रह्मणि शक्यतस् शक्तयस्त्व अमु रजस्तमस सत्वम इति प्रवाह. Narad Muni is saying, sometimes in the sky there are clouds, sometimes there is darkness, and sometimes there is illumination. The appearances of all these takes place consequently. They come, they go. Yeah, we know. Similarly, in the absolute, supreme absolute, the mode of passion, darkness, and goodness appear as consecutive energies. Sometimes they appear and sometimes they disappear. So, yeah. So here we can see that Rajas Tamas Sattva iti Pravaha all emanate also from him. The darkness, illusion, and clouds sometimes appear and sometimes disappear, but even when they have disappeared, the potency is still there, always existing. In the sky, sometimes we see clouds, sometimes rainfall, sometimes snow, sometimes we see night, sometimes day, sometimes illumination, sometimes darkness. All these exist due to sun, but the sun is unaffected by all these changes. Yeah, we know that, right? If it is night here, it doesn't mean that the sun has disappeared. It's only that we can't see it. But sun is always there. He's not affected by the day and night. Similarly, although the Supreme Person of Godhead is all the original cause of all causes, he is unmanifested by the material existence. According to what? According to his own energies. भूमिर आपो नलो वायु खम मन बुद्धि एवच अहंकार इति यमे भिन्न प्रकृति अष्टधा. Eight elements. He says, Krishna is saying all together, this earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego, all together these eight comprise my separated material energies. And the Lord is, Prabhupada refers to understand, give us an understanding that Krishna is the source of everything. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachit Ananda Vigraha. Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. And he also refers Maya Dyakshena Suyate Sacharacharam. This Prakriti, everything is maintained. This material nature is working under my direction. So we have to understand this very important principle. Otherwise, we may think so many other understandings as supreme and will miss this important supreme teachings which Narad Muni is telling. Narad Muni is saying, तेनैकम् आत्मानम् अशेषदेहिनां कालं प्रधानं पुरुषं परेशं स्व तेजसा द्वष्ट गुणप्रवाहम् आत्मैक भावेन भजध्वम् अद्धा. So the next three verses are very, very important, especially to understand the glories of the Lord and also the glories of his devotees. Why? Because the Supreme Lord is the cause of all causes. Tenaikam Atmanam Asesha Dehinam, cause of all causes. He is the super soul of all individual entities, and he exists as both the remote and immediate cause. Since he is aloof from the material emanation, he is free from their interactions and is Lord of nature. You should therefore engage in his devotional service, thinking yourself qualitatively one with him. This is very important, and here we see that the Lord is both the remote and immediate cause. Who were there? I don't know. Last Sunday in the class, when Maharaj was there, he was giving a very nice um, mm, discourse on this matter. Also, he was covering up, talking about Prahlad Maharaj, Hiranyakashipu, and in that context came there is a what is the cause of all that? It's illusory energy. Anyone remember? Anyone? No one? Okay.
Yes, Prabhu.
Hmm. So here in this, we can see that he exists as both the remote and immediate cause. So the cause here we can see what is the cause for everything that's happening. According to Vedic calculation, there are three causes of creation: time, the ingredient, and the creator. The time, ingredient, and the creator. Ingredient is called why- um, what is it? One sec. Mm, the ingredient is the I'm just looking into this. There is this Prabhupada mentions it's called uh, Tritaya. Tritiya means we know three. Tritiya Atmakaha. Um, Tritiya Atmakaha, according to Sankhya philosophy, there are these three kinds. One is the Upadana. Uh, Upadana is Upadana Karana means material cause. The material cause, it refers to the material or the substance through which something is made. Hmm. So the example can be given like if one is making a clay pot, to make the clay pot, whatever the ingredients are upadana. Uh, and then there is another one which is nimitta karana. We may know, okay, nimitta means okay, there is an efficient cause, and then there is hakari karana, is one that is instrumental in something happening or the cause. So in the context of God, we can see that God is seen as everything, isn't it? Yeah. He is the one who is providing all these different elements of material nature. In that way, he is seen as the material cause of the universe, isn't it? The whole universe is created by him. This means that the entire cosmos is made out of um, mm, out of Lord. Just as the clay is the material cause of pot, similarly we can see that Lord is the cause of this whole anda, this Brahmanda, Nayaka. The Lord is the uh, um, owner, or the Lord of this material creation. Then there is a nimitta karana. Nimitta karana is efficient cause. mm, And in this context, we can again see God is also an efficient cause, isn't it? The creator, he is sustainer, and he is mm, uh, providing us the directions from within, so that some things we forget, something we remember, something we know. All this is Krishna is saying is coming from me. What is that? Jnanam apohanam cha. Smritir jnanam apohanam cha. Vedescha sarvam ahameva vedyah. So the Lord is giving this knowledge, and also He's saying the essence of all this knowledge is to know me, and which means in that way, whatever we are thinking, whatever we are doing, we can see in this context that the Lord is efficient cause, and also we can see Sahakari Karana. Finally, God can be seen as instrumental cause, providing the means and conditions necessary for the universal function, as Prabhupada mentioned, time. Time is a factor which is, of course, Krishna says, I am the time. Mm. So we can see that the Lord is uh, cause of causes of creation, time, the ingredients, and the creator. Everything we can see, it's the Lord. Everything in the material world is created by these three causes. All of these causes are found in the personality of Godhead. Uh, what is the reference? Brahma Samhita, we see Sarva Karana Karanam. Narad Muni therefore advises Prachetas to um, worship the direct cause of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As stated before, the root of the tree is watered, all the parts are energized. Accordingly, to advice of Narada Muni, one should directly engage in devotional service. Krishna Bhakti Kaila Sarva Karma Krita Hai. When one worships the Supreme Lord Krishna in the devotional service, one automatically performs all other pious activities. Because we may have this, oh no, I have a family tradition, I have that, I have this. So many things are there. Everything can be taken care if the Lord is satisfied in a pure devotional service. In this word, in this verse, the words Swatejasa Dvashta Guna Pravaha are very significant. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is never affected by the material qualities, although they all emanate from His spiritual energy. This is very important. Otherwise, one who is thinking or taking to other kinds of philosophies or schools of thoughts, they may think, hey, because the Lord has appeared as a human, he also have all these effects, and he's also affected. That's why he's suffering. That's why he's no, he's under the influence of his own sweet will of yoga maya. Uh, but we are not having that, um, sweet will of getting entangled in this Mahamaya. Mahamaya is actually imposed. Mm. It is like mm, people who are not mm, interested in the real business, which is actually engaging in devotional service, then he is casted here so that he understands that he has misidentified, lost his identity, forgot his real identity. So, yeah. That's why he is casted into place where he can learn these lessons for rectification and yeah, for a successful transformation and engage in the service of the Lord. Then comes next verse number 19 is telling about Dayaya Sarva Bhuteshu. This is very important. Santushya Yena Kenavam Sarvendriyopa Upashantya Cha Tushyati Asu Janardhana. Mm. If we may say, what is that verse which is easy but also can be remembered time to time is this wonderful verse. Dayaya Sarva Bhuteshu. What are the qualities of a devotee which are required? Hmm. By showing mercy to all living entities. This is first quality. Daya Sarva Bhuteshu Santushta Ena Kenava. Santushta, be happy with Ena Kenava, with whatever is there. Uh, um, and so by showing mercy to all living entities, being satisfied somehow or other, Sarvendriyopa Sha Upa Upashantya Upashantya cha means to be pacified, to pass senses, to kind of restrict from sense enjoyment, to be satisfied with what we have, with what is there, rather than being carried away with sense enjoyment. Tushyati Asu Janardana. And what one should do, one can very quickly satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead Janardana. So, what are the qualities? These are some, Prabhupada writes, it's not like this is a complete list, but these are some of the ways in which the Supreme Lord can be satisfied by devotee. The first item is Dayaya Sarva Bhuteshu, showing mercy to all conditioned souls. And the entire world is suffering from want of this knowledge. How can we save? How can we show mercy upon all the conditioned soul to make them free from conditioning? We know that in today's world there is a lot of um, uh, obvious understanding that no country, no fellow, no people want to be bound because everyone want to be free. Everyone is looking for freedom, freedom, and for that matter, there are so many kinds of wars and everything is happening. Why? Because yeah, um, we don't want to be conditioned. No one want to be conditioned, but we are actually conditioned as long as um, we are in the material world, and if we are not devotee, then we are conditioned by the three gunas, the mode of passion, goodness, and ignorance. So it's very important that we free ourselves from this conditioning. How can we get freedom? Is that we take up to devotional service. Yeah, I am doing it. Okay, what is the best thing is Daya Sarva Bhuteshu. Are we only thinking about myself? Is it only I am a Vaishnava? Is it only my family is Vaishnavas? No, we see that everyone is part and parcel of the Lord, which means by serving everyone, by making everyone, by providing this knowledge of Krishna consciousness to everyone, that is the best way to show mercy to to spread uh, is to the best way to show mercy is to spread Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada writes, the entire world is suffering from want of this knowledge. Those who are actually learned, advanced in spiritual understanding should preach Krishna consciousness all over the world so that people may take to it and make their life successful. So we may see, um, Prabhupada, he broke those um, barriers of his age, of language, of so many things, culture and everything. He just left everything and then he went to US and um, engaged in spreading the knowledge and establishing Krishna consciousness movement in the West. And when we see that, yeah, we are followers of Prabhupada means what? We take the spirit of preaching by going maybe for book distribution, doing harinams or whatever, in whichever way one can reach to more people, mm, give Krishna to many around us. This is the best thing. The word Sarva Bhuteshu is significant because it applies not only to human beings but to all living entities appearing in 8.4 lakh species of life. The devotee can do good not only to the humanity but also to living entities also. Everyone can benefit spiritually by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. What is happening is when one is chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra loudly, what is happening? The vibrations are, Prabhupada writes, yeah, when the transcendental vibration of Hare Krishna is sounded, even the trees, animals, and insects benefit. Thus, when one chants the Hare Krishna mantra loudly, he actually shows mercy to all living entities. To spread Krishna consciousness movement throughout the world, the devotee should be satisfied in all conditions. This is the next. After Dayaya Sarva Bhuteshu, what is that? Triptya. Ena Kena. Santushtya Ena Kena Va. This is what it means. Uh, to be satisfied with whatever one has. In Bhagavatam, there is Narayana Para Sarve Nakutaschana Bibhyate Sarvopavarga Narakeshva Api Tulyartha Darshana. A devotee, I mean, I remember once there was one, uh, a gentleman who came to me and you said, I mean, he just got into uh, know a bit of what is Krishna consciousness and what is all this. So he came and he was surprised and he said, you know what, I'm very much surprised that you guys are not interested in liberation because his understanding was morely like moksha, mukti itself is the topmost. But then after he heard to one of the devotees class, yeah, and then he came and he was surprised and was telling, amazing. What is that? Narayana para sarve. It doesn't matter to the pure devotee if he has to go to hell to preach. Na kutaschana bhibyati sarva pavarga narakashva. Even if he has to go to naraka. Uh, Even while preaching in hell, a pure devotee remains a pure devotee by his constant association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. To attain this state, one has to control his senses. That's what here it says. Upa Shantya Cha Tushyati Asu Janardana. And in that state, one can always remember the Lord even while preaching. Okay, the senses are automatically controlled when one's mind is engaged in the service of the Lord. Then apahata sakalai sorry, let me read it. Apahata sakalai sanat mala atmani aviritam edita bhavanopaha. Let me start. I need to have specs, I think. अपहत सकलै सनामल आत्मनि अविरतम एदित भावनोपहा भावनोपहूतः निजजनवश गत्वम आत्मनो यन् न सरति छिद्रवद अक्षर सताम ही. By completely cleansed of all material desires, the devotees are freed from all material contamination. This is what is happening. What is happening is actually that there are three things here. The devotee cleansed of all material desires, apahata sakala yeshana, all kinds of yeah, contaminations cleansed by completely cleansed of all material desires. The devotees are freed from material contamination, uh, amalatmani. Then what is happening? Constantly, what are they doing? They are addressing the Lord. Mhm. Thus, they can always think of the Lord constant and address Him very feelingly. Uh, at the moment, our bhakti is kind of a robotic bhakti where we are we have to do like this, we are doing like this, we have to not do like this, we don't do like that, and whatever is coming, we are not feeling. There is no sense of feeling in our service. We are just doing as following rules and regulations. Yeah, of course we should do it, but definitely we can also involve with emotions, with our feelings, so that that can come when we gradually purify our material desires. Thus, they can always think of the Lord constantly and address Him very feelingly. Hmm. Now, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, knowing Him to be controlled by His devotee, does not leave them for a second. What is that going to happen is the Lord is controlled by the devotees. Nijajana Vasha. The real Nijajana are the devotees Vasha. The Lord becomes conquered, controlled by him, and not only is controlled, never leaves them. Na sharati satam, not even a second. Satam means forever. So it's very, very important to understand this, that it's not an impossible task. Otherwise, why would Narada Muni shares this glorious secret of how to attain the Lord? Mm. We can see, as soon as the Lord is seated within the heart of devotee, the devotee cannot be contaminated by the material modes of nature. As long as one is under the control of material modes, he desires so many things and makes so many plans for material sense enjoyment. But as soon as the Lord is perceived in the heart, all the material desires vanish. When the mind is completely freed from the material desire, the devotee can think of the Lord constantly. And this is also what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally said, Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitamam Vishame Bhavambudo Kripaya Tava Pada Pankaja Sthita Dhuli Sadrusan Vichintaya. The Lord. My dear Lord, I am your eternal servant, but somehow or other I have fallen into this ocean of this material world. Kindly pick me up and fix me as a speck of dust at your lotus feet. Similarly, Narottam Das Thakur is saying, Ha ha Prabhu Nanda Suta Vrishabhanu Suta Yuta Karuna Karaha E Bhara. Narottama Das kahe Na Thelihar Ranga Paya Toma Vine Ke Ache Amara. Hmm. He's saying, My dear Lord, you are now present with the daughter of Rishabhanu, Srimati Radharani. Now, both of you, please be merciful upon me. Don't kick me away because I have no shelter other than you. And the Lord is invincible, yet he is conquered by his pure devotee. This is what we can see. He enjoys even being dependent on his devotees, just as Krishna enjoyed being dependent on on his mother Yashoda, mm, for food, for his maintenance by his brother Balaram, Nanda Maharaj, everyone. Uh, so we can see that he relishes this Vatsalya ras. It's not that, oh, Lord is only interested in Madhurya ras. Usually we may think that, or only Dasya ras. Yeah, maybe only want to be the um, to be served. Here he enjoys this relishing dealings with his mother. So the example Prabhupada gives here is that sometimes a king may engage a joker, and the joker, I mean, in today also we can see if someone there is what is it called, stand-up comedy. Yeah, the person is always making fun of others. Yeah. Of course, he's paid for that. He's asked for that, and uh, but the Lord, yeah, Lord may engage someone, yeah, or the king may engage someone as a joker, and in the process of joking, the king is sometimes insulted. Sometimes insulted. The king, however, enjoys these activities. Everyone worships the Supreme Lord with great reverence. Therefore, the Lord sometimes want to enjoy the chastisement of his devotees. So, in this way, the relationship eternally exists between the Lord and his devotees is fixed, just like sky overhead. It's always there. Mm. Na bhajati kumanishanam cha ijyam harir adhanatma dhana priyo rasognya shruta dhana kula karmanam madaiye vidadati papam akinchaneshu satsu. Um, the Supreme Personality of Godhead becomes very dear to those devotees who have no material possessions but are fully happy in possessing the devotional service of the Lord. So, the Lord is a master. Lord is master, and Lord is proprietor. Lord is in that way human being qualitatively same. We also have this nature of uh, possessing something. Possessing, what is that? What is that possession? Is devotional service of the Lord. Indeed, the Lord relishes the devotional activities of such devotees, but those who are puffed up with material education, wealth, aristocracy, and fruitful activity are very proud of possessing material things, and they often deride the devotees. Even if such people offer the worship, uh, even if they offer Lord worship, the Lord never accepts them. This is what Prabhupada gives example. If a person derides a pure devotee, he is never recognized by the Lord at all. Lord doesn't care. Not only doesn't care, but he may even, in the case of Durvasa Muni, what happened? There are many examples in the history. A great mystic yogi, Durvasa, offended the great devotee Ambarish Maharaj. Great sage was to be chastised by Sudarshan Chakra of the Lord. So instead of the Lord want to be chastised by his devotees, if a devotee is attacked, the Lord doesn't spare anymore, and then yeah, he chastises such miscreants. Those on the so he was not. Those on the path of liberation should be very careful not to offend a pure devotee. If we want to be free from all these things, we should be very, very careful in our dealings. And I think this is the last verse that Narad Muni is instructing Prachetas. He is saying, Shriya Anucharatim. Right. Tad Arthinascha Dvipadapatiim Vibhudhamscha Yah Swapurna न भजति निज भृत्य वर्ग तंत्रः कथम अमुम उद्विसृजेत पुमान कृतज्ञा. This question is very important. This convinces also the devotees. What does it convince? It says that although the Supreme Personality of Godhead is self-sufficient, he becomes dependent on his devotees. Just imagine he has everything, but he likes to be with his friends. He does not care for the goodness of fortune, nor for the kings and demigods who are after the favors of the goddess of fortune. Uh, the Lord is not interested in how to raise more opulence, uh, how to spend his time with goddess of fortune or the one who is blessed by goddess of fortune. No, no, he is self-sufficient, uh, but he becomes dependent on his devotees. Uh, the question here, Narad Muni is saying, where is that person who is actually grateful and will not worship uh, the personality of Godhead? What does that mean uh, is there someone who is a fool? First of all, he want to be grateful and but doesn't worship the Lord. No. We can see that the Lord is himself dependent on the devotees. So a devotee's position is so supreme. Prabhupada writes, refers, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that both the Supreme Lord and his devotees are rasagya, full of transcendental humor. The mutual attachment between the Lord and his devotee is never to be considered material. In it always exists as transcendental fact. There are 8 types of transcendental ecstasies: bhava, anubhava, sthai bhava, and on. And uh, those who are unaware of position of living entity and the Supreme Lord thinks that the mutual attachment between Lord and his devotee is a creation of material energy. Factually, such attachment is natural both for the Supreme Lord and for the devotee, and it cannot be accepted as material. Point here is to understand the unique position of a devotee. The unique position of a devotee is not ordinary. Hmm. He has the power, Shakti, the energy to make the Lord his dependent. Hmm. So Maitreya Rishi, he said further that okay, then he concludes that after saying so, Narad Muni thus described all these relationships with the Supreme Lord to the Prachetas. Afterwards, he returned to Brahmaloka. And after what Narad Muni has said, the Prachetas, uh, they have uh, taken it to their heart. Why? Because first of all, whatever they heard directly from Narad Muni, which vanquish all the ill fortune of the world, Prachetas also became attached to the Supreme Lord, meditating on the lotus feet. They advanced to the ultimate destination. Mm. And yes, and Maitreya Rishi says, "My dear Vidra, I have told you everything you wanted to know about the conversation between Narada and Prachetas. You remember this? This conversation is that happened at the Prabhas, where Krishna, before he left mm, um, the universe, he had given all this knowledge to Maitreya Rishi, and Vidura was directed to get this from Maitreya Rishi. Mm. And the conversation describing the glories of the Lord, I have related this as far as possible. So, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam describes the glories of the Lord and his devotees. Because the whole subject matter is the glorification of the Lord, naturally the glorification of his devotees automatically follows. Sri Sukavacha. After this, Sukadeva Goswami is telling, actually, what is this conversation is happening? It is that Parikshit Maharaj is um, um, blessed by Sukadeva Goswami, who was speaking Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And Sukadeva Goswami is relating various conversations um, among the devotees, and this was about the conversation between Maitreya Rishi and Vidura that he has said. After this, what happens is Vidurji, after hearing all this, he leaves to Hastinapur, and I think this is what is also here. Yeah. and and so here ends the conversation between them. And Sukadeva Goswami is telling to Parikshit Maharaj, "Oh, I have now finished telling about the descendants of the first son, who is first son of Swayambhuva Manu, Uttanapada and Dhruva, and we went through this, and I shall now try to relate the activities of the descendants of Priyavrata, the second son of Swayambhuva Manu, uh, Akuti, Prasuti, and Devahuti. Then it is Uttanapada and Priyavrata. Uh, so this is the descendants of Swayambhava Manu, the second son of Swayambhava Manu, who is Priyavrata. Please hear them attentively. This comes in the fifth canto. We are concluding the fourth canto with this last verses. Dhruv Maharaj was son of King Uttanapada. As far as descendants of Dhruv Maharaj or King Uttanapada are concerned, their activities have been described up to the point of Prachetas. Now, Shukadeva Goswami desires to describe the descendants of Maharaj Priyavrata, the second son of Swayambhava Manu. Hmm. And although Maharaj Priyavrata received instructions from the great sage Narada, he still engaged in ruling the earth. It's a very interesting. I mean, I will definitely use next two sessions because last year during Bhagavad Sapta we covered already uh, Jada Bharat, yeah, life and teachings, and before that we covered also Rishabhadev. We will talk about um, Rishabdev's father and his father who is Priyavrata. Maybe in next sessions before we get into the what is that? Yeah, our Bhagavad Sapta. After fully enjoying the material position, he divided his property among his sons. He then attained a position by which he could return back to Godhead. So Priyavrata, in spite of ruling, he didn't actually. It says that he was not interested, but because Lord Brahma engaged him in the Grihastha he took it, and he served Brahma. Yeah. Anyway, that maybe next week we can discuss. And so, what is the result? I think the Falastuti is also mentioned. I'll just cover quickly. Is that after this, Vidra's gratitude ecstatic with tears after hearing from Maitreya, Vidra fell at his lotus feet and fixed the Lord within the core of his heart. And then he thanked Maitreya by your causeless mercy, I have been shown the path of liberation. Following this path, one can return back to Godhead. So after this, he took permission to return to Hastinapur. Uh, the point here is that Hastinapur is where he can meet his family, right? It's not that after such great realization he want to enter into his family life, but rather he want to, as we know, he goes back, he pushes Dhritarashtra so that he can come out of that household um, entanglement. So it is Dhritarashtra, Gandhari, uh, Vidura, along with Vyasadeva, they leave Hastinapur, leaving Hastinapur in the hands of Yudhishthir Maharaj. Yeah. And and what is that? The last verse is mm, he's saying, what is the Falastuti here? Etadya Shrunayad Rajan Ragnam Hari Arpitatmanam Ayuh Dana Yasha Swasti Gatim Aishwaryam Apnuyat. What is the result? O King, those who hear these topics about kings who are completely surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead obtain without difficulty a long life, wealth, good reputation, good fortune, and ultimately the opportunity to return home back to Godhead. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of 4th Canto, 31st chapter of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam entitled Narada Instructs Prachetas. Thus end of 4th Canto. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. How are you all? Maybe I can't hear or I don't know.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thanks for the wonderful recitation, Prabhuji. So this is the end of the fourth canto, and then about Swayambhu Manu's second son, we will start.
Alright. Yeah.
Was not part of the
Huh?
was not part of the initial Bhagavatam classes, Prabhuji. So though I understand the context, so it's all about Swayambhu Manu's sons, is it, Prabhuji? The overall thing.
No. Yeah, this is why I mean we are talking as part of creation, sub-creation, right? In that context, Swayambhuva Manu, he is a progenitor. So then we are talking about him. We also talk so many other
Yeah.
Manus during other Varshas, other ages.
Okay, Prabhuji. Maybe I'll do some back reading, Prabhuji. Okay.
Yeah.
But thank you for this session, Prabhuji. I think it's all about not connecting much to the materialistic desires, and so if you look at Prachetas, they were initially instructed and also by Lord Shiva, and then after a certain point of time, again like Narada Maharishi comes and advises them to give up the materialistic
Yeah.
desires and then
Yeah.
go back.
Yeah. So Yeah, so we can see that usually we are caught up in this devotion, but here we can see that devotion life is still part of our um, um main focus. Yeah, so we can always think that devotional life can be side by side to what I'm doing my now. I think eventually, maybe initially like that, but yeah, the more and more we go deeper, we understand that everything, whatever, wherever we are, whatever we are doing, can be engaged in the service of the Lord. So here, mm, next week when we discuss about Priya Vrata, I was also, yeah, thinking about some other stories which are in similar lines, emphasizing the need of how to embrace the instructions of yeah, seniors. Yeah, here we see that Priyavrata initially was not interested in marriage, but then yeah, it was that's the service. Yeah, so that's what maybe next week when we go, we can go deeper to understand. Otherwise, we may if we I think we are struggling in this age, in this world, mainly because we were not taking to this instructions of our seniors in the past lives, where we thought, no, why can't I do like this? Why can't I create my own way? No, I think that is not convenient, that's difficult. So in these different ways, we are not surrendering, and surrendering is very important to really get out of this lordship feeling, or freedom of enjoying all these things. Yeah, so these things come more strongly, and that's why Bhagavatam is so nice, where we have examples through which we can learn the topmost philosophy, so that we can practice bhakti. We may not just think, hey, no, it's all about Krishna and me, it's only devotion, I don't care all relations. But if that was the case, why there are so many instances and references, and why great, why the Lord asked Prachetas to go and um, lead household life, but this household life is based on what principles? So all these teachings are very, very important, so that we don't make mistakes, and we don't have to, what is it called, speculate how we should lead a devotional life um, according to our own uh, level. Yeah.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji, for this. And Prabhuji, I had this question also in the Chitraketu's Katha.
Hmm.
So, when there is an adversity or setback in life, when do we decide that this setback is probably the Lord's blessings and carry on, or you fight against the setback? For example, Chitraketu, he didn't have this son, and uh, you know, uh, he,
Hmm.
it was like. He but how will he even he know that this was the will of the Lord, or basically what my question is, like, when do we?
Whatever is material, yeah. So whatever is material, endeavoring too much is not good. Over endeavoring for material things is not good. So what we have to do is we have to assess. We have to assess genuinely, uh, uh,
Yes,
very thoroughly, what is my intention. Yeah. Just like if you have a very good friend, your friend will always encourage what is good for you, not what is bad for you.
yes, Prabhuji,
Right?
totally. Yes, Prabhuji.
So similarly, the Lord is our friend, so he will encourage what is good for us. So if things are not moving, we have to assess, is there are different levels. First thing is my mm, expect no is my plan correct or not? First of all, what am I thinking? Is it right? Is it good thing or not? Yeah.
Yes, Prabhuji. Mhm.
So this is we should check our intent. No, and then our intent is right. Yeah, in the case of Chitraketu, the intent is what he wanted to have a son, not for sense enjoyment. Yeah, it was not mainly for sense enjoyment that, uh, no, I'm a king, I want a social status, that I also have a son. No, this was not the thing. He wanted a son so that he can liberate his ancestors, right?
Yes,
The
Swami, that's
intent is right.
yes,
Intent is right. So he engaged in that. But then next thing is we also, it's not just my intent. We also have to see, okay, what is there? Uh, what is there in our capacity? Yeah. So in spite of in that case, Chitraketu had so many wives and still he didn't had a child, right?
yes, Swami.
So he could continue to do that. But what is that? As you are asking, what is that? Should he stop after 100th wife? Should he stop after 1000th wife? When should he stop? Huh? Can he continue to do this? Yeah.
Yes,
In,
Swami.
in
Uh,
those days, sir.
yeah, yeah. So my question is really like when there is an adversity or setback, do we decide that this is the Lord's will and we should accept it? And when do we keep
Yeah.
aspiring or putting our efforts? That's the
Yeah.
uh,
What do
Chitraketu.
we call as an adversity is something that which doesn't meet our expectation, right? We wanted something and it didn't happen. That's what we are thinking as, oh, what a kind of reversal. But
Yes,
first of all, we have to check whether the our expectations are right. Do we have? It's not just the desire. Guna karma vibhagashaha. It is guna and karma through which we are creating our future. It is guna and karma through which we have created our present. It is through guna and karma what happened in the past. So guna and karma are two factors. Uh, so as I said, guna is telling what is our intent. Karma is thing that is really eligible. We also have to be eligible for that, right? Guna, karma.
mhm.
So after these two things, still, even in spite if we have karma, still the Lord is the one upadrashta. Uh, he's seeing what will happen with this intent and with this, mm, what is it called? The he has attained he has accrued the capacity to do something, but because he is a devotee, does it favor him? If yes, then he will Anumanta. He is going to grant us that. Huh? If it is not going to help us, if it is not going to do the ultimate benefit, what the Lord has in his mind, then he would just not give it. So we can see that the Lord is anyway the final. After all, you have made your nice documents, everything. You need that seal and signature, isn't it? Huh? You have a property document and it has everything. It has stamps, it has stamp papers, it has all the content. It has your signature, it has the signature of the seller. Huh? Whose signature is needed in the end?
Yeah, the authority's signature,
Huh?
Prabhuji. Yep.
Without that, will the paper will be valid?
No, Prabhuji. Mhm.
So now you see that it's not the intent of your buying or the selling seller. No, it is still after having that you have earned your money, you are able to buy the property. Still, it can't go through unless the person who is authorized, the registrar can sign it. And now the question is, how many times should I keep trying, keep trying? Yeah, I think in last week, Maharaj very nicely was telling with the examples from Prabhupada, right? Yeah, yeah. Prabhupada tried and tried. Some it didn't work. Sometimes it worked. So sometimes I think the Lord from within, He is giving that um, signal for yeah when to stop or when to continue. If we become an instrument of Lord's plans, then we can see that more easier. If not, then it becomes more difficult. Yeah.
Yes, Prabhuji. I think this was helpful, Prabhuji. Yeah. So that's why we need a guru and others to also guide. I think there was also this Maharishi who said you will have a child, but you will have problems because of him.
Mm-hmm.
Still, went through
Yeah.
it. Yes, Prabhuji.
I think Guru's role and Guru's position is not a choice. Yeah. The role is definitely there in our life. Otherwise, we can't. I think we can't even budge an inch in spiritual advancement. Yeah, we may think that no, it's Lord. I'm praying to the Lord. I'm praying to the Lord. I'm doing japa of Hare Krishna. I'm not doing japa of the spiritual master. Yeah. Yeah, so if I'm just taking to this Hare Krishna, then I think I will attain. Yeah, but I think it is that the spiritual master is the one who is opening the doors. So you may advance, you may go to Vaikunta, but the door is closed. The key is in the spiritual master's hand.
Absolutely, Prabhuji. In fact, once Alexi Prabhu also asked to Keshav Maharaj, this time when he was there, that there are some voices that comes in the mind, and is that an intuition to to achieve to go behind materialistic aspects? How do we know which is the voice of the Lord and which is our own voice? So Maharaj also said, like, that's very difficult because we have so much of observations from the world, and in a way it is also not just the shastras but our observations that influences the voice. But the easy way is, if that
Guru
aspect
Sahib.
has a materialistic has a spiritual angle, then you can through it. And also Guru's part is very important, scriptures. Yes.
Yeah, that's the reason it's very important. I mean, now because we are in this 21st century in a fast world track where we don't have time, but if you see, just go a few years back when all this technology glitters were not there, there is always a regular satsang that was happening. All the sadhus come together, and disciples used to always be with the gurus to hear what is, and the guru also takes time to enlighten. So whenever there are questions, the guru is personally able to see through his mm, um, dealings with the disciple what level he is, what is he doing, what does he need. There are so many nice instances how the guru teaches. It's not like in a classroom training, but those teachings where the disciple you was sent to some place to do some activity, and through that activity he used to learn. Yeah, there are some. Um, uh, yeah, so in that way, the nishtha of the disciples to Guru hmm, uh, was strengthened, and they used to serve Guru, and because they served Guru, they could attain success. So it's very, very important to serve the spiritual master, because spiritual master is opening uh, the doors of opportunity of attaining the ultimate goal. And he is telling, because as I said, intent could be that, oh, let me become a millionaire. Why am I earning so much? So that I can engage everything in the service of the Lord. The intent is nice. Is the karma there? Maybe one is going to get addicted, or because of his conditioning, or because of his past, he may just not be surrendering later, right?
Absolutely, Prabhuji.
Whom to be blamed? Is it Lord to be blamed? No, it is that is in our karma. Uh, but how can we purify or refine that? Because always when we are in association of devotees, now all these things are taken care. As we said, all the planets are under control of sun. Yeah. So everything is under the control of the Supreme Lord, and when the Supreme Lord is seeing our intent, mm, yeah, he can see how our karmic effects can be either nullified or minimized, uh, or magnified, whatever it can be. The Lord interferes in our ways of acting, and accordingly we will be able to free ourselves from this conditioning more and more.
Yes, please. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Any other questions, thoughts? Yeah. If not, then we'll see us next week with the next new canto, canto number 5. That's very, very nice. Canto 5 is very nice. Yeah. I think somehow when we cover this part of Priyavrata, and then we go to Bharat Maharaj. Yeah. So when we come to this part, then we can see, then we can understand uh, how great devotees attain success just by taking to the instructions of Guru. Yeah. Thank you very much. Vanchakalpatarabhyascha kripa sindhubhyo cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Radha Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.